Hey guys, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for joining me. This is the Roaming Prepper channel if you're new. If you have not been here before, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can do a thumbs down if you really don't like what I'm saying. You can put gibberish in the chat, whatever floats your boat. In any case, today's video, some good advice. What was that advice? I'm going to go into it and we're going to talk about why this guy's recommendation to companies might not be something bad for all of us to do. I'll be right back and let's talk about Mark Mobius. That's a cool name, Mobius. Okay, so this article is from Business Insider. It's written by Jennifer Sor, S-O-R. So if you want to look it up yourself, I'm going to start by saying I am not a professional financial advisor, although I've seen some professional advisors who are absolute idiots. So that really doesn't mean much. I am an engineer and I'm a business guy. And so I like to watch what they say because I found that companies, investment companies, dedicate a lot of resources to looking at what's happening currently and saying, okay, we're going to project into the future. They use math models, gut feels, probabilities, running averages. They use a lot of tools to try to understand what they should do to minimize loss, not just make profit, but to protect themselves from big losses. And at the same time, they also want to return value to the other investors. So Mark Mobius runs Mobius Investing. Recent sell-off in stocks could be a warning sign for what's coming in the economy. He said Mobius said it was a good time for investors to hold around 20% of their portfolio in cash. He said this week's sell-off was not a freak event. Uh, it was the worst single day loss after 2 years in the last 2 years, and it came in after the U.S. economic data came in very weak, which is not good. And the Bank of Japan started hiking interest rates again. So that kind of, he said this was not technical in nature. He said, according to, he pointed to rising geopolitical tensions, upcoming elections, and then, of course, Japan raising the interest rates because their situation economically is not good. Stocks haven't taken a substantial hit in April, although they aren't done falling yet. Actually, that's a dated comment there. But he points to this more recent incident where we had the market kind of take a dive on everybody. Now, will the market recover eventually? Yeah, it always recovers, unless there's an apocalypse, in which case, who cares about the market? I want to talk about his recommendation to have 20% in cash. Now, not everybody can do that. And obviously, a company can sell a bunch of assets and get 20% in cash. 20% to a corporation could be $10 billion. I don't have $10 billion. If I did, I wouldn't be on YouTube. I would buy something like a YouTube and own it and run it. Although YouTube's probably worth a shit ton more. But anyway, you get my picture. Now, that being said, does that mean that we can't use that information? No, not at all. He's predicting interest rates will go up. He's predicting that there will be instability in stock markets. Now, once that happens, it causes instability in companies. The energy sector's laid off a bunch of folks lately, very quietly, by the way. Dell just laid off 12,000, if I heard correctly. Intel processing. So the tech sector, the energy sector, a lot of commodities are all taking hits, but it's been very quiet. And unless you're looking for the news, you won't see it. Other sectors are doing a little bit better. So it's not even across the board. But if you know there's going to be instability, especially when it comes to energy, when it comes to technology, when it comes to supply chain, that's going to affect us very quickly, right? Look what happened when the gas prices went up during COVID. Everything went up with it because the cost of everything just got to get everything from A to B just got more expensive, and we took the hit as well. So his recommendation, have a little more cash than usual, is not a bad idea. Think about it. With the interest rates being high, you want to minimize credit cards unless you absolutely have some kind of emergency. flat tire in the middle of nowhere, or somebody gets sick, has to go to the ER, that kind of stuff. You don't want to use it to go to Disney. You don't want to use it to go buy, a jet ski. Jet skis are fun. Disney's fun. Well, Disney is a bunch of garbage, but anyway, but you don't want to use it for frivolous things. You want to use it for things that are really urgent, because you're going to pay 10, 15, 20, 25, 30% interest depending on your credit score and the interest rates at the time that prevail. Even if you have a good credit score, you might still have a high interest rate. Nothing we can do about that. That's fine. Having the extra cash will kind of discipline you, in theory, to staying within your budget. Speaking of budgets, write it down. Put it in Excel, put it on a notepad, stick it on the wall, whatever. So you know every month, okay, I get paid X amount. These are the bills I have to cover. I have this much left over for either funny money or buying the kids clothes or what have you. A lot of you may not be in that boat. You may not be able to save anything. A lot of folks are going check to check. That's not terrible either, because there are options for you. Instead of putting a lot of money, buy a little bit more food each time you go to the store. You get 5 cans of green beans, put 3 in the pantry, 2 go to dinner. If you do that each time, that's only a couple of bucks at a time. It's little dripping, so to say, little drops in the bucket of preparedness. Over time, you will fill that bucket, but it'll be in bits and pieces, so you're going to have to be patient. But instead of having the extra cash, you're going to position yourself to have the extra food, have the extra clothes, have the extra water, whatever, which you should be doing anyway. The point is having a little bit in reserve, whatever it is. If you can swing cash, great. If you can swing food, great. Gas, great. Whatever it is you can do to have that little extra stash is not a bad thing to have. It actually will position you so if things get worse, which we didn't expect 2020 to do what it did, and it did. We had the COVID and all the other mess. If you were prepared, you didn't have to go out and pay inflated prices at the time. You could kind of sit back and let everything level off and use what you had at the house. So, anyway, it's actually good advice. Not everyone can do it the same way. If you can get cash, great. If you can work a second job, get a little extra money you put in the coffee can somewhere in the closet, great. If you can't, get a little extra food, get a little bit of a side hustle. If you're good with being a seamster or seamstress, you can fix clothes or make clothes or do custom design, do spirit wear, whatever the hell it is, a little side hustle. I know some folks who are doing Uber and then they're doing some other gig at the same time and supplementing the spouse. That's not a bad idea. Anything that puts a positive number in the positive column that doesn't involve like drugs and cartels is a good thing, right? Um, Position yourself like that. So if the economy tanks, especially if the election time gets very contentious, we already got the riots in Europe. We got riots in France. We had fighting in France, riots in the UK up and down. Bangladesh is an absolute shit show. Khartoum is still garbage. Venezuela, I haven't heard any new news out of there, but I'm hearing from my coworkers who are from that country, their relatives are saying they're in the streets fighting. Um, it's bad. So could it happen here? Maybe, maybe not. But if you have what you need at home, you don't have to go out into that potentially and find that problem. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with that one, ladies and gentlemen. Be safe this week. God bless, Godspeed, and I will see you all on the next video.